Iran since late May. But is it helping? We'll discuss this and more as we continue diving into the top headlines. I'm Ernie Manous.
And I'm Tessa Baudetta. Could your mail-in ballot be caught in a new legal battle? Harris County Attorney Abbie Kamin joins us to explain what these election fights could mean for local voters.
Plus, what happens when students take on a food desert, one garden bed at a time? Reid Turner from Worthing High School explains how Sunnyside students are creating solutions.
And as always, we want to hear from you. Give us a call or text us, 713-440-8870, or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. You can even watch us live on YouTube by going to houstonpublicmedia.org.
Hello Houston is made possible in part by founding sponsors John Bradshaw and Kathy Sanders, and by gifts from listeners like you.
Live from NPR News, I'm Lakshmi Singh. The war the U.S. and Israel initiated against Iran is stretching into a sixth month, and restoring oil shipments through the Strait of Hormuz is still a struggle. The Trump administration's bombing campaign has been unable to wrestle control for the critical waterway from Iran. President Trump is now employing economic warfare. NPR's Aya Batrawi reports Trump has called on allies to help the U.S. unleash, quote, economic D-Day.
We've seen maximum economic pressure before by President Trump, but this is a step beyond because now there is that naval blockade in place, and it is blocking Iran from being able to export its oil. And this pivot from bombings to blockade comes as AAA says gas prices in the U.S. are up 30% on average from a year ago. So in many states, people are paying $1 or more per gallon than they were. Now, that is because of Iran's chokehold on the Strait of Hormuz since the beginning of this war.
NPR's Aya Batrawi. President Trump has hosted tech leaders at the White House to talk about U.S. efforts on cryptocurrency and artificial intelligence. Trump says the technology is crucial to create more jobs and to beat China, but voters have a different perspective. Here's NPR's Deepa Shivaram.
The president argued that if he were the mayor of a town, he would want an AI data center there for the tax benefits.
But if I were a governor or mayor, I would want that plant in my community, and many of them are designed in a very beautiful way.
That puts Trump at odds with the majority of Americans. A Gallup poll from March this year said 7 in 10 Americans oppose an AI data center getting built in their area. Trump, in his remarks, acknowledged that AI data centers could use a, quote, little public relations help. But his stance underscores how his perception of the technology differs from voters' concerns, which could be a top issue in the midterm elections this year. Deepa Shivaram, NPR News, the White House.
Several hundred people wearing pink gathered today outside the Massachusetts courthouse, where Lindsay Clancy is on trial for killing her 3 children. The mostly female group said they wanted to raise awareness about postpartum depression and how women are generally treated by the mental health system. Clancy says she was mentally ill at the time of the crimes and should not be held criminally responsible. The prosecution argues the former labor and delivery nurse knew what she was doing. The basics of everyday living, a private place to bathe, cook, escape harsh weather conditions, sleep, elude nearly 2 million Palestinians in Gaza. A new UN-affiliated report by the Shelter Cluster finds nearly 94% of Gaza's population is living in critical or catastrophic shelter conditions. More than half of Palestinians in the war-ravaged territory have been living in tents for more than 3 years, which is far longer than what tents were designed to withstand. From Washington, this is NPR.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Shelby Rose. By the end of this year, all landlords in Houston must have functioning air conditioning in rental units. The city council approved the measure yesterday in a 12-2 vote. Councilmember Twyla Carter, who opposed the measure, said she was concerned about rising rents and electricity bills.
This comes at a heavy cost, and it will put people on the streets.
More than 20,000 people in Houston didn't have AC in 2023, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick is vowing to punish public schools that do not remove what he characterizes as graphic and vulgar books from library shelves. Patrick argues school districts are not following a 2025 law aimed at weeding out certain books. News 88.7's Bianca Seward reports.
Patrick is promising to introduce legislation that would knock public schools down an entire letter grade in the Texas Education Agency, or TEA's, accountability ratings if they do not remove certain books from their shelves. Patrick said a single book in the library could result in the penalty. Here's Patrick speaking at the state capitol on Wednesday.
It's part of the accountability system. The schools are accountable to their families. to the parents and to the kids.
Since 2015, the TEA's accountability ratings have had major consequences for schools. The state has used ratings to trigger takeovers of entire public school districts. I'm Bianca Seward in Houston.
A memorial service will be held this Saturday for the head football coach at East Bernard High School, who was killed along with his wife in a car crash over the weekend. Jeremy Jenkins and his wife Brandy died in Wharton County in a single vehicle crash. The service will be held at Sugar Creek Baptist Church Saturday at 1 o'clock, and the community is encouraged to attend. A heat advisory is expected to go into place at noon today. That's because temperatures are expected to hit 100 degrees later, and with the humidity, it's going to feel closer to 108. This is the beginning of a very hot stretch in what is typically the hottest time of the year in Houston. 100-degree highs throughout the weekend as well. We won't get out of the triple digits until maybe the beginning of the week. The heat advisory will be in place until 7 p.m. Friday. It's currently 90 degrees on the UH campus. I'm Shelby Rose, News 88.7.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Fisher Investments. As a fiduciary, Fisher Investments is obligated to act in their client's interest. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss. This is NPR.
Live from Houston Public Media and News 88.7, it's Hello Houston, an open forum on today's biggest stories affecting Houston and beyond. Call now, 713-440-8870, or let us know your thoughts on today's topics by emailing us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now your hosts for Hello Houston, Ernie Manous and Tessa Barrera.
Hello, Houston. We've made it to Thursday.
Yay, Baby Friday.
I've never heard that expressed. That was so cute. You said it earlier today.
It's exciting.
Oh, that's adorable.
I think Thursday has a special energy. It's definitely, I think it's in my top 3 days of the week.
What are the other two?
I think Saturday. I love Saturday, and I kind of have always, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, probably.
Yeah, big surprise
Thursday, Friday,
there.
yeah.
See, and I remember going to college and suddenly realizing, wait, Thursday is really the beginning of the weekend.
Totally.
And all of a sudden, people are going out Thursday nights.
It's a good
and I'm
night.
like, don't they have Friday work?
It's a good night.
It's a warm-up night?
Because people are like, well, I just have to get through one more day of work, and I'll be fine. Yeah, some of the better nights are
Earl Grey T-Cat says in the chat already over on YouTube, Baby Friday. I love that. You started something new there for us. On today's show, we've got a lot we're going to be covering. There's a lot going on, and we know you tune to us every day to hear what's going on, to share your thoughts and opinions. Our phone lines are always open. We invite you to share with us. But something else that's going on at the same time is to bring you this type of programming. We also need your help and support, not just by listening and chiming in and joining the conversation. We are right now wrapping up our resiliency fund for this particular period of time. It comes out of the federal budget cuts that hit us last year, which took out about $2.2 million a year from our budget. So we've come to you, and you folks have been wonderful in responding to it. We're so close, because what it turns out to be, for these 2 years, it was $4.4 million we lost. We are under $100,000 to go to hit the goal so that we can restore what the government took away from us, what they took away from you, what they took away from everyone. So today we are asking during the show, if you can call in and make a donation of support to the station, Laura McWilliams, in memory of Bradley McWilliams, will match every dollar you folks offer up as a gift to the station to support the work we do. They will match it dollar for dollar. It's only a short-lived period. What you need to do is, if you go to the website, you want to click the Resiliency Fund Tracker. That's how you want to get in to make sure your money is doubled. Or you can just call 888-909-0887. But we need to hear from you.
I love a buy one, get one free anything. I love a BOGO, and this is a twofer.
Yeah.
So I love a match day, because that means, this is a day where anything you want to give, say you can only give $10. Well, that's okay, because that's 20, and 20 is 40, and so on and so on and so on. Mm-hmm. And, I've seen I've been involved with fundraising and charities for as long as I've been in Houston, whatever organization I've been a part of. And those match days really do make a huge difference. And a little bit goes a long way. And when you see those, I'm telling you, those $5 donations are just as meaningful as the $5,000 donations, because you're doing what you can, and listen, I can't give a lot, but I care. Mm-hmm. I love this, and I care, and this is what I can do. So yeah, I love a good match day.
Yeah, and from looking at the notes I have in front of me, we are just under $92,000 away from our goal, and that may seem like a lot, but when you hear our goal was $4.4 million, and you've stepped up and you've helped. Right now, we're in the final stretch of that. And so why not make that gift right now where your gift is doubled? So why are we doing this in our show right now? Because there's an urgency. We're getting close to the end of the year. Our fiscal year ends at the end of August. So there is a push right now. And I hope that all of you that support us, that chat with us, that talk with us, can do whatever you can to help. Because remember, it will all be doubled. The number, I was going to give the wrong phone number. I was going to give our chat number. The number is 888-909-0887, or go online and go to HoustonPublicMedia.org and click the Resiliency Fund tracker. If you've been waiting to do it now while it can be doubled.
Houstonians are so generous. So
They are.
I know, it's almost $100K, but it can be done. It can be done.
Well, if everyone listening gave $2, just $2, well, actually $1 because of the double match.
There you go.
We'd be there. $1. Can you do that? And if you're on the line, you're calling in to do $1, do 2, do 10, do what you can. Help us stay strong. And it's a great day today to donate for, my British computer guy says it's National Radio Day. So what a great way to honor that. Okay, back into the show that we do, and that means headlines. So take us in, Tessa.
Okay, early voting begins in Texas's U.S. Senate race. Just under 9 weeks to go there, and both Ken Paxton and James Talarico. I know when I put it in terms like that, it's closer.
Like it's closer than we thought.
That's right. It's going to be here before you know it. So Paxton and Talarico have been pitching their political visions everywhere from restaurants to music halls, and Texans have only seen one of those people on television. Talarico has spent over $25 million on advertising since the general election began in late May. So an ad tracking firm, Ad Impact, says $10.7 million has been for broadcast. He spent $8.4 million on streaming services, and the rest has gone, they do a combo of like cable, digital, radio, and satellite. So is TV helping Talarico, or do you think this is another Colin Allred situation? The momentum is there, but maybe the votes aren't there to back it up. You can call us or text us, 713-440-8870. What do you think? I think I've seen some of the ads. They seem sincere. I think advertising is effective. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry for a reason. And I don't know, but then the comparison to Colin Allred, it's like, okay, it's effective. People maybe are liking what they're seeing, but are they implored to go to the polls?
And this could be controversial. I don't think Colin Allred connected with the voters in the same way a James Talarico is. I think if you are looking for a change and based in kind of a solid change from business as it currently is, or those that have been in higher office for a while, I think he excites the electorate in a different way.
Yeah.
And so I don't see it as similar to Colin Allred in that regard.
Also, sorry, but also we've been talking about education so much, and in his background as a middle school teacher,
right.
I think that is so strong. I think one of his ads said, I don't scare easily. Like I was a middle school teacher or something like that. Like I'm not afraid of. You think if middle schoolers couldn't scare me, I'm not going to be bullied by some of these bigger corporations.
And I think also agreeing with all of that. Have you seen the ad about the pen?
No.
It seems as though that Paxton stole somebody's $1,000 pen. It was in one of those, you go through the metal detectors, so they put their pen there, and he went through it, and he saw the pen, and he took it, and it's on security camera, and he steals the pen.
Oh.
And then the guy came back looking for his pen, and it wasn't there. Since then, he has gotten his pen back. But that was the first ad I saw that they were putting out on the Talarico campaign, trying to look at the character of Ken Paxton. So I thought it was effective in that regard. What fascinates me, two parts of this story. One is the reason you're not seeing Ken Paxton ads on television, he doesn't have the money. It seems like all of their belief, and he keeps going on Talk TV saying, it's coming. We're going to start our rollout in September. We're going to do it. The reason you hold off is you don't have the money to flood the airwaves right now. It could also be the thought people really aren't paying attention until we hit fall. Come September, early October, that's when people start really paying attention to all this. But mid-October is already early voting. So you got to get in there and be part of it, you know. So Talarico has been incredibly effective as a fundraiser, and he's spending that money where he can. My other concern, I'll ask you what you think of this. In today's day and age, buying television, broadcast television ads, who is that reaching?
Well, I would say it depends. So I think sporting advertisement is still live sports is still a really good option because people are watching. He did have a record in a World Cup themed Spanish language ad, and I think he started like Mi Español es más o menos, but he did record a commercial in Spanish, which also obviously the Hispanic vote in Texas is something you want to seize. You know, Latinos for Trump is a major group here in the state. And I think that live sporting events is still very lucrative ad placement.
Outside, though, of that, I don't know people, and I maybe, let me know. Call in, let us know, 713-440-8870. Do you watch broadcast television anymore? Or do you find the best moments of talk and information shows by going to YouTube? Do you stream your programs? Sporting, I think sports is the last bastion of broadcast television. Really.
People also like their game shows. My British computer guy says Wheel of Fortune watchers are tuning in.
Are you a wheel watcher?
I used to get home and watch Jeopardy, but that was used to. That was, you know, when we didn't have the streaming choices and services.
The TV filler in my house has always been Judge Judy.
Oh, I love Judge
Judy. But
I
I can watch now on YouTube, which is probably my current obsession, and I can watch them over, and they just jump. No commercials, and they go one case to the next, to the next, to the next, and I can be like hours just watching Judge Judy. We had some interesting comments that came in. Braden said, Ken Paxton has no real policy to advertise. He also is being out fundraised by Talarico by $60 million. Earl Grey T-Cat said, talking about our conversation about Colin Allred, I had no enthusiasm for Allred. I vote in every election, and he was just another box to tick for me. Versus Talarico, I feel eager and excited to vote for him.
So, yeah, I mean, I think whatever Texans are feeling, however you are feeling about the current climate of anything, who is moving the needle for you personally? Who, you know, ignites you? Because like you said, yes, voting, it's a civic duty. But when's the last time you were like, okay, yeah, this is my guy or girl, and I'm getting in there and I'm pumped about it.
Your thoughts on mail-ins, though, mailers, I should say, not mail-in, but we'll get to mail-in voting later in the show.
We will.
Mailers, all those cards you get in the mail with vote for this candidate, this is my policy, this, that. Do you read them? Do you throw them out?
I think there should be an option to go paperless for all of those things. I also get inundated with text messages. Those obviously are easier because they're not physical things. They're not physical mailers that are collecting. I'm all about, I mean, it's like I respect it. My dad, we campaigned for my dad on the school board when I was very young.
Oh, yeah.
So there's always something to be said about like pounding the pavement and saying, hey, this is our family guy. This is our guy. This is who we would like you to vote for. There's something special about people who believe in someone so much that they will go do that and put the mailers and all this stuff. But it kind of gets junky.
They still talk about that door to door, knocking on people's door is still that grassroots campaigning still means something.
Because it's face to face.
Yeah. And you tend to like the people you meet in public. There was another comment that came through here that I wanted. Oh, yeah. Braden also wants to know, I want to know when the debates are going to be. Seems like Paxton's too scared to commit. Yeah, James Talarico laid out a set of debates, and the stations, the TV stations, are behind them. They have agreed to it. We haven't heard from Ken Paxton. He keeps saying, oh, yeah, he's not scared to debate, but put your money where your mouth is, if you have any left.
I love a debate.
Yeah.
I love a good debate.
I love a good debate.
Yeah.
We're going to have the Harris County judge race debate here at TV8. So I hope you're watching broadcast TV that night. That's coming up in the fall, and so we'll look forward to that. But yeah, I want to see the Talarico Ken Paxton debate.
Yeah, I think a lot of people. There's a lot of eyes on Texas, and there's more news. Do you want to?
I just want to remind everyone, we're curious what you think about this. Are you interested in seeing more Ken Paxton ads on TV? Do you feel like he doesn't need to put TV ads on because you either know them or you don't know them at this point? If you're a supporter, you got it figured out. And if you're not going to be swayed by a television ad. Or do you think you want to learn more about them and TV is the way to go? Also, last part of that is James Talarico. Has he got too many ads? Does that bother you now? Do you just want this all to be over with and it to be November already and be done voting? Let us know. 713-440-8870.
On Monday, Texas families asked the U.S. Supreme Court to decide whether state lawmakers can require public schools to display the Ten Commandments. This is a formal request that comes after the Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled earlier this year that Texas's and Louisiana's laws mandating such displays did not violate the Constitution's ban on states prioritizing one religion over others. Families Against Ten Commandments laws say parents should control how to teach their children about religion and that state leaders should respect that children come from a diversity of faiths and non-religious backgrounds. What are your thoughts? Call or text us 713-440-8870. I'll start this, Ernie, because I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic school and private school. I think the Ten Commandments are, they're a strong rule to live by, a moral code. I will say, adultery and themes like that being on display in elementary schools, it's a little, I don't know. I think that section is weird, but I think like real Christian or Catholic parents don't necessarily need their faith mandated onto kids that are Muslim or Jewish or or anything like that. What about you?
I'm still concerned with, and I really want to dig deeper into it because usually whenever there's some kind of legal battle and the court has spoken, I always try and go in there and see why did they, if it's not what I would have thought, why did they decide that? I do this a lot with the Supreme Court. What exactly are they deciding on? What laws, what principles, what constitutionality are they actually litigating as opposed to what we see as the trappings of the actual case? What constitutional question are they deciding? In this one, I am just perplexed at how they don't see displaying the Ten Commandments as a violation of the Constitution's ban on state prioritizing one religion after another.
Right.
And I wonder if they put the tenets of a different religion and they mandated that was significant in the education of students, that it should be on the wall in every classroom in the state. Also, would those that support the Ten Commandments say, yes, put up the tenets of the Quran or put up the tenets of another religion? Because for me, yes, I understand a lot of yes, I. I understand that foundations of a lot of laws that came out of mankind came from Christian faith in these tenets that were out there. And they're mirrored in a lot of other religions. So putting one above another, I'm concerned with. And so I'm happy that this is moving forward because I think I'll get a clearer understanding, if it does, of what the constitutionality is that they're looking at, how I can be missing it so completely.
I mean, I agree with you. Freedom of religion also means freedom from religion for maybe families that are non-practicing. Maybe they're atheist families. It's so frustrating with all the problems of education. Why aren't we fighting for like more reduced lunch, more benefits? They're banning books from certain libraries. It just seems like this is an argument that shouldn't be at the top of the priority list for me, but yet here we are.
It'll be interesting to see what happens there. What are your thoughts? Give us a call. Share with us, 713-440-8870. As we wrap up this segment, I still haven't gotten to talk about that low-budget movie. Maybe tomorrow.
Okay, we're going to put this at the top of the list here.
Where do you get, this is our question that's happening right now on our YouTube. Go there, answer this question. It is, where do you get most of your news and information? Is it broadcast TV or radio? Is it news websites and apps? Is it social media? Or is it something else? Share your votes, and we'll give you the tally a little later in the program. Still to come up on today's show, we are getting ready to have Abbie Kamin join us. She is the Harris County Attorney. She's got some things we need to talk about when it comes to voting and what it means for every one of us in Harris County, and actually across the state and could be across the country. So stay tuned. Hello Houston continues right after this.
Meet Dio Choco. We just took his keys for the day and gave him a Ride Metro fare card. This is his story. Visit ridemetro.org/Choco to find out where is Choco.
Down. I'm Kai Rizdal. Can't manage what you don't measure, right? That's next time on Marketplace.
You can listen to Marketplace tonight at 6:30.
In 1977, the psychobilly band The Cramps recorded a studio album that never saw the light of day. The recording sat in a garage for decades.
It's like the tomb underneath Tutankhamun's tomb, which never got raided because the raiders simply never knew it existed.
I'm Juana Summers. A new Cramps album, Gravest Gravy, on All Things Considered from NPR News.
AETC coming up today at 3 p.m.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from listeners like you and from Baylor College of Medicine. With over 125 years of innovation behind it, Baylor has driven progress in health and medicine through research, education, and care that push the frontiers of modern science.
Support comes from Houston Theater Week, a citywide celebration of live performances. Participating organizations include theater, dance, and music presenters. Returning August 24th through the 30th. Tickets at HoustonTheaterWeek.com.
Support comes from Baker Ripley, serving Greater Houston for more than 100 years, with programs supporting families, education, financial stability, and workforce. Find program details, volunteer information, and more at BakerRipley.org.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from Live Nation, presenting the Buddy Guy Blues Festival, coming to the Cynthia Woods Mitchell Pavilion on August 29th. Tickets at livenation.com.
And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on any of today's topics, call or text 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now Tessa Barrera and Ernie Manous.
The rules around voting by mail are facing another legal challenge, and Harris County is joining the fight. County Attorney Abbie Kamin is challenging efforts that could make it harder for some voters to cast ballots by mail. It's not the only election-related legal battle involving Harris County. Kamin is also challenging an effort by the Trump administration to withhold federal funds unless the county agrees to new conditions related to elections. Joining us now to discuss these legal challenges and what they could mean for Harris County and its voters is Harris County Attorney Abbie Kamin. Abbie, welcome to Hello Houston.
Thank you for having me on again.
It's great to have you back. We were talking about voting yesterday with someone from Democracy Docket, but this is really closer to home, and you've got two different cases that really have the focus. And I want to start, the first one I want to start with is mail-in voting and the difficulties or the roadblocks that seem to be putting in place to, depending on where you sit on this issue, it's either great gung-ho, it's making voting more secure, or it's blocking and silencing voices. Talk to me about these cases. We'll start with the mail-in.
Well, first, overarching all of this, let's be clear. There are laws and there's the Constitution, and there are three branches of government. And it is very clear what the president can and cannot do. And time again, courts have been holding that the Trump administration cannot be issuing executive orders like he is doing related to elections. That is the role of Congress, and that is the role of the states. So overarching all of this is literally an attempt at a political power grab that is illegal. Mm-hmm. But going deeper, how this affects everyday residents throughout the state of Texas. Trump issued an executive order that was challenged. It's before the Supreme Court that basically said to each state, if you don't comply with what we want you to do, we're going to hijack the United States Postal Service and not allow the Postal Service to send you and your residents their mail-in ballots. So think about that. In Texas, in Harris County in 2022, so an off-cycle general midterm election just like this year, over 60,000 Harris County residents using mail ballots to vote for the governor. That's what's at stake right now. And so what we have filed is a support brief at the Supreme Court that basically says, because again, all of this has been put together so haphazardly that it's sowing chaos. There are requirements in there that actually violate federal law that we can't comply with under the law, but they're saying, no, you have to do this anyway. So there's a lot to unpack in that. But the bottom line is you cannot hijack the Postal Service as President of the United States and say, we're not going to allow you to send your residents mail-in ballots if you don't comply with what we want.
And I guess where I would start with this one, I put my little legal hat here, and you know more about the law than I do, so help me understand this. In the establishing of the post office or the Postal Service, what kind of guide rails were instituted as far as what they are or not allowed to deliver, and who dictates that?
Yeah. Well, I think you're hitting the nail on the head. These are our postal workers, and I want to commend them. They have a very hard job. You've been talking about federal cuts.
Right.
The Postal Service is one of those that has been hit, and they are still out there walking in this Houston heat right now. But they are not election administrators. Right. They are not the ones to look at, oh, yep, this person should get a mail ballot or not. And the system that the federal government is trying to use right now, called SAVE, has clearly been defined by the courts as a haphazard, improper system that is getting it wrong. So it's actually including, tries to identify who is eligible to vote and who is not, and it's getting it wrong. So we're talking about the rights of eligible voters that are being tagged as ineligible, and it's not a reliable system.
Right, but I guess the thrust of my question is, though, throughout history, who has determined, how are those determinations made? Because if, in fact, it is not allowed for any entity to dictate what the post office can, or if there are guidelines on how that is done, wouldn't that be the stopping point of this whole thing? That you cannot dictate that the Postmaster General not deliver certain mail that is legal and official.
I shouldn't be laughing because courts, it's not just the Postal Service. Every single court ruling has said, no, you cannot do this.
Right.
You can't do what they're trying to do with the Department of Homeland Security. And yet they're still trying to slap an executive order on or attach requirements to federal grants that we receive every which way, even though courts have said, no, you cannot do this. And it's the blatant disregard for the law, the blatant disregard and, quite frankly, disrespect for the Constitution, but to Congress, to states, and to residents that's taking place. And we have to make sure that we are protecting the rights of every single resident in Harris County. You talk about, well, but they've said you can't do this, so how are they doing this? Well, the same thing applies in the lawsuit that we just filed on Monday. We're coming up on the 25th anniversary of 9/11. I want to recognize that. That is when the Department of Homeland Security was created with this vision to protect communities from violent extremism and initiate more thorough counterterrorism efforts as authorized by Congress. And Congress earmarks through DHS critical funding for cities and counties and states through our Homeland Security grants programming. Millions of dollars. We're talking about things for Harris County like equipment to detect chemical and biological and nuclear and explosive materials, training to respond to violent extremism, protective equipment for local law enforcement in those scenarios, alert systems, things like that that we rely on to keep communities safe. And what the Trump administration is now saying with these standard grants, they slapped on at the last minute after applications for these grants had been submitted, new additional election requirements that are also illegal, and saying we're going to withhold at least 20% of all the state's funding if an urban area, there's a special term for it, doesn't comply with our requirements. So we're filing suit because, again, the President of the United States cannot hijack public safety dollars to impose a political power grab that benefits one person.
And to be clear, these are two different lawsuits.
They're two separate lawsuits. Yeah. Thank you. And again, it gets confusing for people. Right. So we're trying to break it down and make it digestible. But the mail ballot suit is before the Supreme Court. The case we just filed is actually in the D.C. Circuit. We have El Paso that has joined the lawsuit, Nashville, Columbus, and there's a separate suit of over 20 states that are also filing. So this is not a Harris County alone issue, but it's our responsibility to make sure that we are doing our part to protect the laws, enforce the laws of the state, too. A lot of these rules conflict with state law that we're trying to comply with.
The Postmaster General was before Congress answering questions a little while back, and I'm just curious, do they want the responsibility of deciding who gets what mail when it's put into the system? Are they equipped to be vetting who gets a ballot?
I don't want to speak for the Postmaster General,
I'm
but
just curious
I
if there's
would
policy or
I would
position they've put
assume
out.
I would assume that election administrators are the ones that should be administering elections. They are highly trained professionals that are nuanced in that law, and we have an incredible team here in Harris County, dedicated staff, and that's all across the country. So in answer to your question, I would assume that the Postmaster General does not want to be in the business of managing elections or administering elections or having anything to do with that. Their job is to deliver the mail.
Right. And it's the election officials' jobs to decide who gets them and what are the regulations for communities and different, I guess just communities is a good enough word, who gets ballots for mailing.
Absolutely. And that job falls to Congress and the states and local authority.
Really quickly, I'm sorry, I'm just like all over this one, but help people understand, because we always hear elections are the purview of the state. Elections are the purview of the state. But Congress is involved too. Explain, if you know, the differences between what Congress is allowed to do when it comes to our elections and what we're entitled to do as a state and a community to do.
Yeah. States, for the most part, regulate and control elections, and they put laws in place and rules in place like auditing protocols that we follow and things of that nature to make sure that elections are transparent, that they're fair, and that they're operated with the highest level of integrity. Congress, though, can pass laws as it pertains to the entire country. So take the National Voter Registration Act or the Help America Vote Act that says, certain dates for certain things to protect voters' rights and things of that nature. So overarching, you have Congress that can set certain policies for the entire country. And then whatever's left falls to the states in terms of the actual administration of those elections. Congress has also, again, provided funding. You can earmark funding for certain things, including safety measures, including counterterrorism measures and election interference prevention measures. So, again, in our system of democracy, it's multi-tiered, but courts have made it very clear that Trump cannot interfere in this way. And remember, I heard y'all just talking about it. We're how many days away from early voting? Early voting starts October 19th.
Yeah, I think it's under 9 weeks.
Mail ballots go out in a month. People are already submitting their mail ballot applications. We are in the midst of the election, and to sow chaos this close to an election, I think it's very clear what the president is trying to do.
And I just want to remind everyone what you just said in there. People are already sending in their applications. Do not let all of this alter what you do. Get out there and continue. If there's a problem and things get blocked, that's down the road. But right now, do what you've always done. Submit your ballot.
Do what you've always done. And a reminder, with mail-in ballots, you have to apply for it every year.
Right.
Get that in. And again, to be clear, while this is a political power grab by the Trump administration that we're standing up against, we're standing up for the residents of Harris County and all eligible voters. It does not matter what your political affiliation is. It does not matter what your creed is or who you're voting for. If you have the right to vote, that is sacred, and we will do everything we can to protect every eligible voter's right in Harris County.
We're speaking with County Attorney Abbie Kamin about the legal battles over mail-in voting and federal funding and what it all means for Harris County. We have David Ford on YouTube saying the suits keep occurring, but is anything actually happening, being fixed? It just seems like the feds just keep doing what they want. I'll add to the tail end of that. It does seem like the administration is being extra brazen so close to voting. What are your thoughts on that?
That's why we have to keep fighting. We have to keep standing up. We cannot be complacent. It's important that people that are listening know what's happening and talk to others about it, because elections do matter. Voting matters, and the democratic process matters. I'm very concerned about the disregard and disrespect for our judiciary, for the courts. We have seen the sidestepping of case after case and opinion after opinion, but we're going to keep at this because we believe in the rule of law and the respect of law.
Some would say that all of this is happening is just to sow confusion, to make voter. Already a lot of people find voting a hassle. Not that it is. I think it's very, especially here when you can early vote and do all of this, we try and make it as easy as possible. But a lot of folks feel it's confusing and difficult. When then you add these layers of not understanding, can I mail in, can I mail in? When does it have to be received, not received? What IDs do I need? People are going to sit it out. Just it's human nature.
And there's a lot of fear for some communities in going to polls right now. Even, again, eligible voters. I want to be clear about that. Go to the Harris County Clerk's website. Follow government, local government, and state government information that is as clear as possible as we work our way through the courts on a lot of this. And our hope is that the courts see this game, this playbook over and over again. It's a playbook of desperation at this point, but the courts are holding and stopping a lot of these executive orders from moving through. And that's why it's important to just go to the website, call the clerk's office, call trusted sources, including here, about deadlines, how to, whether it's registering to vote or requesting your mail ballot or where to go vote and things of that nature.
Harris County is one of many places that is being kind of bullied, strong-armed by the administration. I'm curious as to the social relationship between you and other counties that are experiencing this. Are you in communication? What are the rumblings amongst people kind of being targeted?
Yeah, we're in close communication. That's why I'm so grateful for this partnership in this most recent lawsuit. Again, El Paso has filed and joined this lawsuit. We have other, not just in Texas, but other cities and counties across the country that are joining. I'm speaking with my counterparts in other counties. We're meeting with council members. We're meeting with congressional delegation members to hear from them and listen and make sure that we're being clear in our communication about the information we're providing out and making sure residents are aware of what's going on around them.
In addition to what you're doing in the courts, is there concern, are there protocols, are there thoughts on how to handle the fact on Election Day or around Election Day? If we see seizing of voting machines, if ICE is at the polls, unauthorized poll watchers, all of these things that have been hinted at, thought at, National Guard being called in around polling locations that may not just be there to protect but to intimidate. Are there plans in place? Are you worried about that, or do you feel like, no, we're going to be able to move through this without that?
I don't want to add to the concerns, the fear, the chaos that the president is trying to create. At the same time, I think we have to be very vigilant and aware and practical and realistic about what is happening and the threats that have been made. We have seen what's happened in Georgia. We have seen what's happened in California, and we are taking that very, very seriously.
I guess it's suffice to say, in Harris County, with the work you're doing, our voters, our legal voters, should feel safe to go to the polls and vote, to request a mail-in ballot, follow the guidelines that are established, and to continue to get out there and vote. That we need people to realize there is still faith in the system.
We have to have faith in the system. I remember my dad taking me into Hunters Creek Elementary when I was a little girl to vote, and that is when I fell in love with our system of government. And at the heart of that is the right to vote and public education, but also the right to vote. And I want to encourage everybody to use that right, to use their voice. And again, we are going to do everything that we can from the Harris County Attorney's Office to protect the rights of every single resident of Harris County, whether it's on elections, whether it's dealing with, right now we're dealing with slumlords and taking on tenants' rights and holding bad actors accountable, whether it's securing, we've actually gotten a new a $2 million, there was a large industry partner who was circumventing through a loophole property taxes. And I worked with Commissioner Garcia, and we've now cut that loophole out, and they will be having to pay $2 million at least annually for property taxes. So we're being very careful as a watchdog for the residents of Harris County with taxpayer dollars, but we're also looking at all of the different ways, including voting rights and voter protection.
Quickly, to put a button on all this, what happens with these two cases now? What should we be watching?
Stay tuned. We're waiting on the Supreme Court with the mail ballot case. We thought it would be a quick decision, but it seems to be dragging out a little bit, again, closer and closer to the election. And then with this new case against DHS and FEMA, we just filed on Monday. So there'll be additional briefings, and that will be moving through. But our office, we've started a new thing called the Legal Lowdown, where we try to give an update once a week.
I like that.
Breaking down some of what we're doing and what's happening.
The Legal Lowdown. Abbie Kamin is the Harris County Attorney. Abbie, we're always happy to have you on Hello Houston. Until next time, thank you for keeping us informed.
Thank you. And I don't know if I'm allowed to push for the campaign that y'all are doing
you
right
are
now.
Welcome to push for
but
the
we
campaign.
appreciate all the work you are doing. And again, the cuts, the public funding that is being lost for critical journalism right now deserves to be discussed more and more. So I'm going to do my own personal push and pledge for the work y'all are doing right now.
She's talking about the Resiliency Fund. You can call 888-909-0887. And today, it's a match day. Right now, your gift can be double thanks to Laura McWilliams in memory of Bradley McWilliams. Stay with us as Hello Houston continues.
Houston Public Media gives us content that we don't get from commercial resources.
Houston Public Media is my pathway to being a well-informed citizen of the Houston community.
Free journalism provided by Houston Public Media and provides a concise perspective on the morning's news.
Houston Public Media helps strengthen our community.
That's why Houston Public Media is for listeners and viewers like me.
Lamb, host of The Splendid Table. This week, it's food for kids. That's anything but kids' food. We talk with renowned chef and, more importantly, dad, David Nafeld. And we have the most majestic cookbook ever written about instant ramen. No, really, it's great. It's coming up on The Splendid Table.
You can listen this weekend. It's on Sunday at noon.
Houston Public Media, in partnership with Texas Southern University, brings to you The Vibe. R&B, hip-hop, and neo-soul. Music that resonates with all ages. The Vibe on 88.7 HD3 and on the Houston Public Media app.
Support comes from Miller Outdoor Theater, presenting Houston native Jason Hainsworth and the rising artists of New Jazz Underground, produced by Dekamera. Friday, August 21st at 8 p.m. More at milleroutdoortheater.com.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from the Women's Institute of Houston. Join a community of lifelong learners and discover history, literature, current events, art, mahjong, and more through engaging classes. More info at wih.org.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from listeners like you and from CertaPro Painters, offering residential and commercial painting services. From color consultations to full project management. Estimates and more at CertaPro.com.
And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on any of today's topics, call or text 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now Tessa Barrera and Ernie Manous.
In Houston's Sunnyside neighborhood, students at Worthing High School are turning a patch of land behind their school into more than just a garden. Their agriculture program is teaching students how to grow food, raise animals, and explore careers in agriculture, all while addressing the challenges of living in a food desert. Joining us now to tell us more about the program and its impact on students and the community is Reid Turner. He's the lead agriculture teacher at Worthing High School and the head of its career and technical education program. Reid, welcome to Hello Houston.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Reid, I just got to start off with, I think this is brilliant. I think it's a great idea. I think it works on so many levels. Looking into it, too, it's not just about growing food. Explain what it is that you're doing and how it has these tentacles that reach out in all different directions.
Well, like you said, it's just not about growing food.
Get a little closer to your microphone.
Yes, thank you. I said it's just not about growing food. It's giving students the opportunity to not only learn theory about agriculture, but also give them hands-on learning skills and that they can take into their careers possibly, and even just the community. Like you said before, Sunnyside is in a food desert, but we're not looking at the challenges. We're looking at the opportunities and the solutions that we can do.
Let me tell you something, Reid. Anyone that can grow anything in this Texas heat has my envy and my praises. But, Sunnyside overall, this isn't an area of town that, 31% of families in Sunnyside are below the poverty line. Over half of these children are raised by single parents. Tell me about this program, how it got started, and why it was so important to pass on this particular type of knowledge to these students.
Well, when I went to Worthy, and because I've just recently got there about 3 years ago, we just wanted to find certain issues and solutions that we could actually address as a community and academically. So what I would say about Sunnyside, like I said, they do have challenges, but I like to look at the opportunities. I like to look at to see how people are acting, how they are interacting with their community. I said Sunnyside is rich with tradition, is rich with history, and the community members are very prideful in their area and their community. So they like to grow. They like to do these things. They like to have different opportunities to actually, be successful.
Talk to me a little bit about moving it beyond the classroom. So often we talk about, you're educated in the classroom. Look at how food is produced. Look at how it helps a community. Look at the animal part of it and all that. But then you made it practical.
Yes, sir, I did. Like I said I'm the lead teacher in the ag program. It is a CTE course that stands for Career Technical Education. And like you said, we had a green space, or just a basic flat piece of land.
Yeah, I don't know that I'd call it green.
Yes. It was but we created a green space. Like I said, we built chicken coops. We built raised beds. Like I said, they grow collard greens, peppers, tomatoes. We're even trying to expand to actually build a greenhouse in that area as well. So when the weather changes, we are able to still grow food and have fresh, affordable, accessible food.
So the students get to get out and get their hands dirty in this.
Oh, yeah.
Literally.
They definitely get their hands dirty. I said we try to do applicable and applied learning about every 2 days. So they learn, I said they go hands-on, and then we test. So we try to test out as many solutions as possible because, like you said, we're trying to create solutions for our community.
Well, kids, I think nowadays get a bad rap. You're always on your phone. All you care about is video games. What is the feedback from the kids that actually, as Ernie says, get to get out and get their hands dirty?
Now, like you said, you would be surprised. Like most of our students, they like TikTok. They like the new applications and apps and things. But if you really show them that they can do things outside, they really learn to like to do it. Learning like to do it.
Are they taking a lot of selfies, though, out there?
Oh, yeah, they love taking the selfies. They love
Come with me to grow a garden.
Yeah. We still need to grow a garden, but they love to take the selfies with the chickens, different plants that they've grown and things like that.
What animals besides chickens do you guys have? Is there, what do you have out there? I know the peppers and things, but yeah, get into the setup just a little bit more for us.
Yes, well, right now we're currently expanding. Actually, we just have 2 Nigerian goats as well.
Amazing.
Yes, and we're going to actually try to do some milk production with them as well. Like I said, we do have the chickens, and we're also expanding more chickens to create more egg production and things like that, and also raise meat for the community. And like you just said, we're just trying to give them any opportunity to show them how they can make this a career.
Talk to me a little bit about the product that comes out of this. How is that helping the community?
Well, the main product is our students. So because
good answer. Okay, you get points.
I said yes. The main product is our students, and like you said, they're learning, they're applying, so they can do this in the real world. Because I have many students now that want to be veterinarians, they want to be agricultural engineers, they want to be farmers. I had a student yesterday that asked me for a pack of seeds.
Wow.
Because they're actually trying to do this in their home and actually show their family and friends about how to grow food.
Oh my gosh, that was actually my next question. Have any of the students taken this and applied it to their home? I can't imagine how thrilled I would be if my hypothetical child brought me fresh tomatoes from our garden.
Yes. Like I said, the students are very excited. I have kids that ask me for eggs. I ask kids that have asked me as many times to, Mr. Turner, when are we getting more animals? I said, when we're growing this, when we're growing that. And it's so much that I just have to just schedule it, take it time by time and step by step.
But do they get to take the food that's grown?
Oh, yes.
Is it going out into the community too?
Oh, yes, they get to take it to the community, get to take it to their family. Like I said, get to take the friends. We're actually trying to develop a farmer's market this year so we can actually sell the produce and the products that we create.
I love
That is fabulous. So how big is your garden?
Our garden, well, like I said, it expands in our green space. It's about, I would say, maybe a quarter acre or so. And then we also have about 4 to 6 raised beds in our courtyard as a demonstration for people to come through and see what we're doing.
What are the next goals, and are there any hurdles preventing you from getting to your next goal?
I said, I don't look at it like hurdles. I just look at it as steps to actually, like I said, create a solution.
You are so glass
I
full.
need
You are
him.
glass half
I need
full.
him in my life.
Yeah.
You are so positive about that.
Thank you.
So I'm
Thank
going to
you.
flip the questions then
Yes.
on you and say all these things you're teaching. What have the students taught you?
The students have taught me patience. I said students have taught me just a lot of different things. Our students are very bright.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just need just a little light to show them how bright they can be, because our students, they want to learn. I think we kind of get that misconstrued in, just with the climate of everything. But they really want to learn, and they're really bright. They really pay attention, and they really like doing things outside that you wouldn't think they would like to do.
We're talking with Reid Turner. He's a lead agriculture teacher at Worthing High School, and he's also head of its career and technical education program. If you'd like to join the conversation, you can call or text 713-440-8870. Reid, what is your background? Have you always been an agriculture guy, an ag?
You could kind of say that. Well, I started when I was younger. I was in Boy Scouts, so I was always outside, of course. And then around my, sophomore, junior year, I went to Prairie View A&M's RAP program. It stands for Research Apprentice Program, where they take young students and teach them for 6 weeks about agriculture. So I had a project about the study of integrants in pregnant and cyclic goats. And during that competition, I actually won first place. So me being competitive, I just kept getting more and more into agriculture. So it went from goats, then it went to planting, then it went to crops and pests and things like this. And then I went to Prairie View A&M, where I studied agricultural economics.
And then you went to Sunnyside in your youth. So to return to community and make it better for all where you got started, I mean, what does your family say about that? And why did you make that choice?
Well, my family loves it. Like I said, I come from a background of just, like I said, being outside. Some of my family members are actually ag teachers. My great uncle, who just passed away, he was an ag teacher for 40 years.
Wow.
And so I just kind of learned from him and just learned from different family members that grow, have gardens, have animals and things like that, and just use my college skills also and just applied it together. Like I said, theory, hands-on, and then we test it out to see what we can grow and raise.
Could this work in other Houston neighborhoods? Could this be an answer to a lot of problems we're facing?
This definitely can be an answer to a lot of different other communities, because all you need is just a network and a willing to do it. Yeah. So when you have the network and willing to do it and just certain resources, you can do a lot of things. And like I said, our students have been great. I said our district has been great. And I just like to appreciate everybody that's been helping me and aiding in this solution.
I know we're talking about raising money today for our support and to help our station out, so I shouldn't do this, but if people want to get involved and support the work you're doing, is there a way they can?
Oh, yes. Just feel free to call Worthing High School. And feel free to call the district, because we are open to the resources, as many as we would like to get. Like I said, we're always about expanding. And just like I said, it's all about helping the students at the end of the day to make sure they have a career and possibly, like I said, be a effective community member.
Well, you're in the city of the Houston Rodeo, so if there are any agricultural people, enthusiasts, they can call the high school and get involved that way.
Oh, yes, definitely. Please do. Please call.
Reid Turner is the lead agriculture teacher at Worthing High School and head of its career and technical education program. As always, thank you for coming in and the work you do. Thank you for that.
No, thank you. I appreciate you, and thank you for putting a spotlight on our program.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more Hello Houston. Don't forget, you can still donate today. Go online and look for the Resiliency Tracker. We're doubling every donation.
Stay tuned. There's more Hello Houston on the way. For the latest in local news, subscribe to the Hello Houston daily newsletter at houstonpublicmedia.org. Hello Houston is a production of Houston Public Media. The opinions expressed by the guests of this program are solely their own and do not represent the views of management, staff, or underwriters of Houston Public Media. This is News 88.7.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from Alley Theater, now playing The Girl on the Train. Based on the best-selling novel, this psychological thriller continues through August 30th. Tickets at alleytheater.org.
You can watch Hello Houston on HPM Plus, free to download for smart TVs. We have a heat advisory in effect until tomorrow at 7 p.m. High today could hit 100. It's 90. And this is your NPR station, KUHF, Houston. News 88.7, a service of the University of Houston.
Just ahead on this hour of Hello Houston, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick vowed to pass legislation punishing public schools that don't remove graphic books from their shelves. We'll discuss this and more as we continue diving into the top headlines of the day. I'm Tessa Baudetta.
And I'm Ernie Manous. What happens when tactics developed in war zones start showing up at home? Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Thomas Ricks joins us to explain what he sees as the troubling connection between the U.S. operations in Iraq and modern ICE enforcement.
Plus, it's Thursday, which could only mean one thing. It's time for all of us to share our latest current obsessions, and we want to hear from you. Start emailing them to us at talk@hellohouston.org.
Or call or text them to us, 713-440-8870. Don't forget, you can also watch us live on YouTube. Simply go to houstonpublicmedia.org.
Hello Houston is made possible in part by founding sponsors John Bradshaw and Kathy Sanders, and by gifts from listeners like you.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Lakshmi Singh. The Trump administration is working to calm financial market pressures by buying back its own debt. Today, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the administration could be spending double, at least $4 billion, to do it. He spoke to White House reporters about the $40 trillion in U.S. government debt, instability in the bond market, and the more than 2% rise today in global oil prices as the U.S. pursues economic warfare against Iran.
We've got a spike in oil prices today that I don't really understand. Our announcement is for economic action, and I think that the economic action will mean that oil prices will come down sooner.
Meanwhile, the U.S. military says the Asia-based USS George Washington aircraft carrier is in the Middle East to relieve the USS Abraham Lincoln. The Lincoln has been deployed in the region for more than 250 days and has been the subject of inquiry following reports of mental health problems among members of the crew. North Korea fired off a barrage of short-range ballistic missiles for the third time this month. The U.S. and South Korean militaries are holding joint drills that were shortened following orders from President Trump. NPR's Anthony Kuhn has the latest from Seoul.
South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said they detected around 10 short-range ballistic missiles launched from the capital Pyongyang eastward toward the sea. Earlier in the day, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's sister, Kim Yo-jong, dismissed the downsizing of the allies' joint drills, saying it wasn't worthy of comment. She called them provocative and aggressive. President Trump said he planned to meet with Kim this year. He said he had contacted Kim and received a positive response. Kim's sister said she had not heard anything about such contact. Kim acknowledged, though, the good personal relationship between her brother and Trump, despite the U.S.'s hostile policies towards North Korea. Anthony Kuhn, NPR News, Seoul.
The federal government offers financial aid to low-income families that need help paying for childcare. But NPR's Joe Hernandez reports in a third of U.S. states, those families may have to join a wait list.
There were an estimated 400,000 children on wait lists for child care assistance programs across the U.S. in the second half of last year. That's according to a report by the National Women's Law Center. That number has more than tripled since 2024, the group said. Child care advocates say Congress has never appropriated enough money for the Child Care and Development Fund, which helps subsidize care for low-income working families. But in in recent years, wait lists have grown for other reasons. Pandemic relief money that helped support the national child care system recently ran out, and advocates say more families are now applying for aid. It comes at a time when U.S. child care prices are soaring, in some cases rivaling the cost of a mortgage or college tuition. Joe Hernandez, NPR News.
This is NPR News.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Shelby Rose. A heat advisory has just been put in place for our area. That's because temperatures are expected to hit 100 degrees later, and with the humidity, it's going to feel closer to 110. This is the beginning of a very hot stretch and what is typically the hottest time of the year in Houston. Here's the Houston Chronicle's meteorologist, Justin Ballard.
That heat dome really sinks the air, and sinking air compresses and warms. So that's why we've got day after day after day of hot, dry weather, very little opportunity for rain, which, even if briefly, would help kind of cool us off just a little.
100-degree highs throughout the weekend as well. We won't get out of triple digits until maybe the middle of next week. The heat advisory will continue until 7 p.m. on Friday. It's currently 90 degrees on the University of Houston campus. 3 Galveston Island homeowners are suing the Texas Windstorm Insurance Association. They allege the insurer underpaid claims after Hurricane Beryl by secretly lowering damage estimates. Sean Hodge is one of the attorneys representing the homeowners.
Hurricane Beryl was a natural disaster. It could not be prevented. But what happened following that was a systematic scheme carried out by TWIA to underpay the insured.
The insurance representatives say their claim adjusting procedures are compliant with state and federal laws. This evening, the Houston Texans will face the Las Vegas Raiders in their second preseason game. We may not see some of the key players, though. The Houston Chronicle is reporting the Texans are resting most of their starters. Regardless, it's good insight into what we can expect for the season. Texans analyst John McClain touted their #1 defense on Hello Houston and expressed his confidence in C.J. Stroud. But the one drawback to the team, he says, is the offensive line.
They do not have a great offensive line, but they do have a lot of new pieces led by their #1 pick center, Keelan Rutledge, who has had a great training camp.
Kickoff is at 7 o'clock, and the Astros will face off against the Angels in Game 2 of their series tonight at Daikin Park. Houston is still leading the AL West by 2 games. I'm Shelby Rose, News 88.7.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Made in Cookware. Made in Cookware is crafted by chefs for chefs and designed for restaurants and home kitchens around the world. Their cookware can be found at madeincookware.com. This is NPR.
Live from Houston Public Media News 88.7, it's Hello Houston, an open forum on today's biggest stories affecting Houston and beyond. Call now, 713-440-8870, or let us know your thoughts on today's topics by emailing us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now, Ernie Manous and Tessa Barrera.
Yes, it is. It is the second hour of Hello Houston on Baby Friday.
Yes.
That's Tessa's new term. We're going to make it
Someone
something.
said Friday Junior. I also like that.
Oh,
Friday
Friday
Junior
Junior.
on the YouTube.
Yeah. You know, it was also on the YouTube. We had a poll question for you earlier. We were talking about how James Talarico has spent a lot and had a strong presence in broadcast ads, and that we've seen almost nothing popping up from Ken Paxton. So it led us to the question, where do you get most of your news and information? Is it broadcast TV or radio, news websites or apps, social media like Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, or something else? And guess what the #1 was?
Is it radio?
It was, well, see, and that's why I think it's unfair. It says broadcast TV and radio.
/radio.
Right, and that's 43%. I think more people take in radio than do broadcast television anymore, unless, like you said, for sporting events.
Well, we've both done TV and radio, and I just think that radio is the most intimate form of communication, of broadcast journalism, and I think that people feel really comfortable having these longer conversations. And I think you do get more information than just, okay, hey, quickly, this is 30 seconds of this story and then 30 seconds of this story and then a minute of this one. Yeah.
Yes. And in broadcast news, we've seen the numbers going down around who watches it. They're even launching a brand new concept of news here in our market. We'll talk about that in probably a couple of weeks to show a new way to tell the news. So they're obviously looking for a new way. But anyway, 43% chose broadcast TV or radio. 39% news websites and apps. So I guess that means like NPR website or New York Times, things like that. Social media only got 9%.
I love a good little clippy clip.
Yeah, I'm always looking on X when news breaks. I want to see all the different people's reactions to it.
When it was Twitter, when X was Twitter, that's when you could go and find the now details. If you had a trusted source on there that you followed, an account, you could get up to the minute breaking news. It was very addicting for me.
I still use it when there's like a State of the Union or a debate or something. I've got it up and I'm watching people's reactions the whole time and what they're saying and what did I miss and what did they see and what did they hear. And then lastly, another 9% went with something else. We're always doing polls right here on our YouTube channel in the chat below. So please remember to jump in there for that. We also had some other stuff. Oh, we got a compliment for you.
What we got?
Tessa, love you.
Oh, I love you too.
I
love you too.
From Kelvin.
Kelvin Torres 7239. I love you as well, Kelvin Torres 7239. No. We had a lot of comments from the headlines that we were talking about. We were talking about Talarico, 25 million in ads, as you mentioned, but people are amped to vote. We got a text said, a text that read, "I've never been this excited to vote. Paxton found a way for me to get rid of him, and I won't pass it up!"
Ooh.
Exclamation point.
Yeah,
also,
backhanded compliment there.
Another text reads, "There is no comparison between an Allred versus Cruz race and Talarico versus Paxton race. Paxton isn't anywhere near the candidate that Cruz is."
Interesting.
Very interesting. And then a caller that's really excited about Gina Hinojosa. "I'm an educator, and she's been very supportive to education in Texas. That's important for us in Houston because of the takeover. Even more importantly, the support for Talarico is great, but we have to focus on the executive office for real change." That came from Jeff in Bel Air.
Which, Jeff, that brings a point that I love to remind people of. There may be a particular race or a couple of races that drives you to the polls, but when you're there, make sure you know what the other races are and let your voice be heard. You've done the hardest part. You've gotten to the polls. Now vote. So educate yourself on the other races and vote down the entire ballot. There's a lot of very important things that are on the ballots that may not be simply the marquee race you've gone for. So keep that in mind.
I have a personal question for you, Ernie. Do you take notes when you go to the poll, or do you have it? You're very locked in on all of this stuff. I know it gets you very excited. Do you know exactly who you want to go to by memory, or do you have like a cheat sheet? Do you write anything down?
For the marquee races or the ones we're covering or talk about on the show, I usually pretty much know.
Okay.
But there are like a lot of the judges. When it gets into the weed on judges, I like to go through and understand what they stand for and who they
100%.
are. And then there are a lot of those propositions and such that come up on the ballots that are worded in ways that you think you're voting one way, but you're actually voting the other.
Right.
So I'm always paying attention to that. And my memory is so bad that I do now, for the first time in my life, this last primary, I actually brought a card in with me where I had answers on it. And I had never done that before in my life.
Well, I brought a card in too. I brought a little cheat sheet for myself as well. And that's because as I get older, I do care more about...
See, it's because you care more, and these because I can't remember as much. See, we both have our reasons for what we do.
However you do it, okay? Whatever you need.
Be an educated voter. I think that's what we're saying at the end of the line there, and it's important. And already remember, make sure you are registered to vote. This is going to be a very important election, no matter who you're voting for, where you fall on either side of the aisle, what your policies and beliefs are. If you're not registered to vote, you're not going to be able to vote. And you may assume you're registered to vote. Check online, make sure you're registered. If not, apply. And as we heard Abbie Kamin saying a little earlier today, start thinking about putting in that application. If you need a mail-in ballot, get that done early. You can also track it online once it's submitted. And if you see there is a problem, you can still go and vote if your mail-in vote didn't get received. Okay, I'm done with my soapbox.
Okay.
I'm getting off of it. Let's get into the headlines.
Do some headlines. All right. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick vowed to pass legislation punishing public schools on Wednesday. Under the proposal, schools that don't remove graphic books from their shelves could be docked an entire letter grade in the state's annual school performance ratings. Underperforming districts run the risk of being seized by the state. Dan Patrick was flanked, as he gave this statement, he was flanked by easels that displayed printed covers of books that he found obscene, and he accused school boards and administrators of not following a 2025 law that was aimed at weeding out lewd books from the shelves. Texas has more than 9,000 campuses attended by some 5.5 million school children. What are your thoughts on this? Call or text us 713-440-8870.
My head is about to explode on this one.
Okay,
tell
me why.
So angered by this. You know what? Okay, you don't follow a law. I get it, and that's breaking the law, whether you like the law or not. If there was a law passed and said you had to do this, do that, there can be punishments. Docking your school a letter grade, which is determined by the way your school performs academically, is combining two things that have nothing to do with each other. And as you said in your read there, it could be seen as a veiled attempt to continue a takeover or force a takeover because you are docking a school not for their ability to teach, not for the education the students are getting, but you're docking them because they didn't follow a rule or regulation that has nothing to do with academic performance. So rarely am I so against something. Right. I want to say, well, there is no different side to this. This is apples and oranges. I'm not saying you cannot find some way as the government to punish a school that you feel isn't following the guidelines. That's a whole different thing. Docking their letter grades when it's so important and so significant in the success or failure of a school and the student body, this is wrong. I rarely am that firm.
It seems to be a trend of, do this, do as I say, or there will be consequences to pay. I mean, it seems just over many subjects. And this is an important one because literature, reading, literacy, education, it's so important to build up the student, right? To build up the education and the minds of our youth. But yeah, it just seems like adults can't get it together for the sake of the students, and they're the ones that are going to suffer because a lot of these kids will not have certain lived experiences unless they read them in a book. And
I'm not
everyone
even getting into that
right,
whole censorship part of it, of blocking
so everyone has
books.
to pay. So everyone has to pay. You do it my way or you will pay. That's what seems to be more commonplace than ever. And it's like, what happened to meeting in the aisle for something? What happened to agreeing, finding a middle ground, or just No,
it rings out to me as wash your dishes or we shoot the dog. Two things that have nothing to do with each other unless you're in Kristi Noem's family.
Right.
Boom. Yeah, that was my joke. That felt pretty fun. But no, it's so ridiculous to me. It just is.
So there's a couple more notes from this. The law from last year that he was referring to in 2025 was Senate Bill 13, and it granted school boards the authority to approve and remove books based on complaints they received. So there were parents, there were activist groups that were also getting in on this. But, those powers, librarians trained to be librarians to hold the authority of what is stocked in their shelves. And I don't know. I feel like...
Well, even what you just said there, it was a law that granted school boards the authority to decide what is and isn't. Right. So penalize the school board for not enforcing this rule or law. Do not penalize the schools themselves. This just, I don't know. I mean, I shouldn't get this worked up over things. It's summer, it's hot out there, let it be. But I'm sorry. And we did have, Alexis did say, LMAO, we know what that means, at the Kristi Noem joke. Thank you, someone for appreciating
you know what?
it.
Thank you. He needed that because I was
I
looking. I had my head down in my
reinforcement.
notes when he pulled that one. We do have a call from North Houston. Vivian, what do you have?
Hi. Yes, I taught ESL, and the way that I taught the classics was using graphic novels because they couldn't understand the concept. It was just their English wasn't good enough to read regular Shakespeare.
Thank you for calling in and sharing that with us, Vivian, and thank you for the work you did teaching in schools, and also the idea of using alternative materials to help children understand. And I think teachers are best suited for that. When they feel something isn't working or connecting, they look for other ways to connect to the students. It was like our guest in the last hour, that it wasn't just teaching kids about agriculture. Get them out there. Let them see it.
Showing
let them do it. Let them feel the benefit of it. I do want to clarify, though, when we're talking about graphic books, I don't believe we're speaking in terms of graphic novels, which are illustrated books, but we're talking about books of graphic nature, as in maybe adult theme.
Right.
Just want to clarify the two different uses of the words there. We have another call, 713-440-8870. It's Zaza from Sugarland. Zaza, what's on your mind today?
Hi, Annie. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, it's a very simple thing. I think the law originally was to give local control, give the school boards a chance to do what they thought it was going to be. You know, like when they started taking over school boards, like in Cypress and Cole, they thought they were going to have their hands on the pulse all the time. But it seems it's backfiring, and being an extremist like he is, the lieutenant governor is trying to force his beliefs on everyone else. So much for freedom and small government. It's one new law every time he doesn't like something, or repealing or restricting everyone. So what I believe is simply happening is this guy wants to get everyone to read the kind of books he wants. So maybe what we should all do is tell him to write a list of recommended books for all school boards. That way he will be happy, and we can all let this thing go, because it's been going on years, and I'm tired of it.
Zaza, thank you for your comment. I do believe he did the alternate. I think he did write a list of books that shouldn't be in libraries, or somebody did, and they were passing it around, or examples of what they thought were inappropriate books to be in school libraries. We had David Ford wrote on our YouTube, shouldn't the librarians be the ones in charge of controlling the books that a student checks out instead of removing the books altogether? Plus, what even is lewd or non-moral or whatever? Thank you, David, for that comment. 713-440-8870. Paul from Midtown is on the line. Paul, what's on your mind?
A couple of different things. Mm-hmm. First of all, when did Dan Patrick suddenly become the literature cop?
Mm-hmm.
He's so full of BS. Second, in the state of Texas, you guys referenced this as far as our governor, Abbott. The governor, he's a figurehead only. He can state what the legislature is going to do, but the real power in the state of Texas sits with the lieutenant governor. He or she is the one who sets the agenda in the legislature. He or she is the one who decides which bills are going to go through the legislature and pass. Third is you guys were making earlier references to Talarico and Paxton. Talarico has been doing streaming commercials way months before, and Paxton has never done a debate in at least 10 years. He always conveniently finds a way not to answer questions. And whenever he's confronted with a question, he gives some BS answer so he can step away and walk away.
Mm-hmm.
So, even Senator Corden, when our president, through his support with Paxton, said, hey, look, you guys vote who you want, but the thing is, if you're going to do that, get ready to lose this seat. I remember when Democrats ran this state. The thing is, I even voted for Bush the second when he was governor, when he went for president, because I remember that's how you had bipartisanship in the Texas legislature. I figured, okay, cool. I'll vote for you as president because I knew how you were here. And as soon as you got in, went the other way. The thing is, you have to be open. You have to listen to everything. But with this joke of, and whenever someone confronts Paxton about, hey, Howard, do you have like $9 million worth of houses or 15 houses on a state salary of $153,000? He walks away, does not answer it. Hey, how come here's a good one. During the 4th of July, everyone's celebrating the 250th anniversary, of the United States. Fine. Where was he? He was on vacation in Europe. He was in England. He was in France. Along with the woman that he's still seeing. Oh, and the other point on that is
Paul from Midtown. We appreciate your thoughts. We're trying to squeeze one more call in. We'll go to Kim from Montgomery. Kim, what's on your mind?
Okay, from there, I thought I had the wrong show. I'm trying to stay on the subject of the teaching and the promoting kids that have flunked. And this is not something new. This has been, as we all know, ever since the equal opportunity thing went in, it was supposed to get them on track, get them to keep friends, get them to promote instead of sliding by failing. And I am a retired substitute teacher from Spring Branch, west side of Houston. And I have seen teachers use everything from when I was in high school, the Beatles albums instead of Shakespeare, just to get, over the border kids to engage. And my mother had an arrangement about that, and she ended up volunteering, so it had a positive effect. To, like you said, the graphic books. I even used big production movies. West Side Story is, something that engages the kids they can identify with. My Fair Lady shows them even native-born kids can't learn English easy. It gets them over their fear. But when you promote a flunking kid, that's like saying, just sit here, don't pay attention, we'll push you through. And I know a wealthy nun, who actually quit because she said to a kid, what are you going to do if you don't pay attention to this? How are you going to get a job or run a business? And he actually said to her, lady, I don't care. I'll just get on welfare.
Kim, thank you for calling and sharing with us your thoughts today and the stories that you shared with us and the time of teaching. It's so important that we bring motivated folks, motivated individuals into the classrooms to teach our students. Another just side note to keep in mind is that the lieutenant governor is actually in a race. He's going to be on the November ballot. So it's always interesting, the policies and the concerns and the things that come out as it gets closer to election time and what you want to rally your base around, and maybe we are all just being used as a little bit of a pawn here. A question came in about what were the 4 books that were mentioned at the press conference. They included Let's Talk About It, The Teen's Guide to Sex, Relationships, and Being a Human by Erica Moen and Matthew Nolan. Also, they displayed Boy Toy by Barry Linga, Cranked by Ellen Hopkins, and Push by Sapphire. Those were the books that were highlighted, that were shown to illustrate what the lieutenant governor was talking about. We also had a text that came. Oh, I like this one. Totally agree, Ernie. I always like texts that start that way.
Yeah, that's it.
His threats are ridiculous and a waste of time. Maybe he should be more concerned about overcrowded classrooms. Julie in Galveston, a former teacher. She also says, stay in your own lane, Dan Patrick.
Lots of educators calling in.
Lots of concern.
We need to come. The way we think a veteran, like, thank you for your service. We need to figure out one of those for people who educate. Like, you know what I mean?
Thank you for your educating.
Yeah, thank you for your educating.
Yeah, teachers are so impactful. I just think that to penalize a school because a policy that you have put in place, which is supposed to be allowing the school board to govern what's in their libraries, and then penalizing a school's performance because of that, is just wrong on every count. It is regardless of what you think about the law, about regulating the schools, what they have and what they make available. That's a whole other issue. But do not penalize them for that.
All right.
That's what I think. What do you think? Give us a call or text 713-440-8870.
Okay, moving on. All landlords in Houston must install air conditioning within the next 120 days after the city council approved a right to air conditioning ordinance in a 12-2 vote on Wednesday. Today, Houston made it clear that no renters should be left to endure dangerous indoor heat without reliable cooling. Those were the words of council member Alejandra Salinas. She is the one who spearheaded the measure. Under city code, units must be cooled to no more than 80 degrees, or if the temperature is above 100, if the high is above 100 degrees, degrees, at least 20 degrees cooler than the outside temperature. Before Wednesday, units with screens on windows were exempt from this rule. What are your thoughts? Tell us in this Texas heat. Call or text 713-440-8870.
The first thing that was fascinating to me was that the vote in City Council was 12-2. We looked up who the two were that voted against it, and they cited increase in housing and electric costs may result from this. And also they said it created a financial burdens that could lead to eviction were their concerns. That was Fred Flickinger and Twyla Carter were the two city council members that had concerns with it. And those were some of the concerns I brought up when talking about it. You make these regulations, and not to say you shouldn't have the opportunity to have a livable environment. And in Texas heat, you've got to have some answers to that. But so that ordinance has passed. What are your thoughts on that? 713-440-8870.
Well, air conditioning, obviously, in new builds being installed in the city of Houston, that makes sense. My concern is maybe for like older houses, and if this only applies to landlords. I mean, window units. We always had one in the back of my grandma's house, and everyone just would be in the back of the house at a certain time of day because that was the cooler part of the house. I don't know what the implications of this might be, negative ones, because it sounds like you said, everyone deserves to be in a cooler temperature. I guess my concern would be the older houses that aren't equipped for that.
Yeah, and I don't know what the exact verbiage is in the ordinance that they passed, but the fact being that, okay, so the landlord now has to put air conditioning in or buy an air conditioner. Are they going to tack that on to your rent? Are they going to also, it costs a lot of power to keep an air conditioner running. A lot of people don't know how to properly do that, so they may put it on too high for too long and their electric bill goes up. And so then they face financial burden there. Some people, not to say that I agree with it, but some people are at such a low income that this could be crippling to have to then pay that. Now, I guess the argument could be, well, then don't turn it on if it's that, or only turn it on in the most severe situation if you can't afford it. But it is putting an added burden on people.
I do like that it is for renters, because if you're a renter and you're not in a situation where you can own your own home, you deserve to be in a place that is, especially in Houston, Texas, fully air conditioned, comfortable, and you have, it is miserable. We know this. I mean, everyone's power has gone out at a certain time. We know on some of these dog days of summer days how brutal it can be.
Yeah. And in no way do I want to point and say, people who can't afford it should be uncomfortable or should suffer even. It's not just being uncomfortable. I think the bigger problem is, how in the world are we in this country in this day and age and people can't afford the electric to keep themselves at least moderately cool, that our economy is in such shape that the help and support that's out there for people who need it is not there enough that this becomes an issue we talk about, that because now we say when it's 100 degrees, you have to have an air conditioner that can cool you down at least to 80 degrees. And
Which
the
is
argument
still not comfortable.
Is, yeah, and the argument is, well, maybe they can't afford that, and then this would be an undue burden on them. How can we live that way?
No.
My heart's growing big. Anyway, 713-440-8870. Those are some of our thoughts. Share with us your thoughts. You know the number. Give us a call. You're listening to Hello Houston right here on News 88.7.
Houston Public Media gives us content that we don't get from commercial resources.
Houston Public Media is my pathway to being a well-informed citizen of the Houston community.
Free journalism provided by Houston Public Media and provides a concise perspective on the morning's news.
Houston Public Media helps strengthen our community.
That's why Houston Public Media is for listeners and viewers like me.
Person who spent years in prison, and the victim's family left with no justice.
That these two men's lives parallel each other, but kind of in opposite ways. And so, and up for Ben was a down for Jay.
Why wrongful conviction harms lives on both sides of the courtroom. That's next time on Think.
Listen to Think coming up tonight at 11 o'clock. Support for Houston Public Media comes from Decamera. The 26-27 season features Joyce DiTonato and Time for Three, Jazz with Joshua Redman and Julianne Laws, and more. Information and tickets at Decamera.com.
Support comes from Whole Earth Provision Company, presenting Bring the Outdoors In at the Alabama Shepherd Shopping Center in Houston. Animals, drinks, plants, and fun for all ages. Saturday, August 29th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on any of today's topics, call or text 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now Tessa Barrera and Ernie Manous.
The role of federal immigration agents in American communities has become a growing source of debate, particularly after the recent death of Lorenzo Salgado Araujo here in Houston. In a recent op-ed, journalist and Pulitzer Prize-winning national security reporter Thomas Ricks takes a look at the way immigration enforcement is being carried out on U.S. streets and draws comparisons to the conduct of American forces during the occupation of Iraq during the Iraq War. Ricks has written extensively about the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan and argues that some of the practices of those conflicts are now playing out at home. Thomas, welcome to Hello Houston.
Thank you very much.
Thomas, let's start off with what opened your eyes to this comparison and the desire to share this information with folks.
I would sit and study the photographs of ICE operations, and they just reminded me so much of some U.S. Army and Marine Corps operations in the Iraq War, especially in 2003, 2004. They really didn't know what they were doing. The American approach was confused. They really ignored civilians and, shot them when they got in the way sometimes, not understanding that the whole war was about winning the support of the civilians.
Mm-hmm. In some way, I guess it'd be safe to say we learned lessons in Iraq, but we brought the wrong lessons learned home. Is that a way to put it?
Very much so. That you look at these guys on the streets, our neighborhoods, and they're dressed up tactically. Mm-hmm. They're wearing, helmets, goggles, masks. They're carrying automatic weapons. They're operating military style in our streets against American citizens. First of all, it just makes no sense to me. That's no way to treat anybody, but especially American citizens. It's also illegal, a lot of what they've been doing. ICE consistently has lied about its operations. They go undercover and they don't tell people when they ask who they are. They really don't think they should be questioned about what they're doing, and they act a lot like some American troops acted badly in Iraq. The big difference is when American troops acted badly in Iraq, often that was reported up the chain of command, and the chain of command, that is the commanding officers, looked and said, wait a second, this is not what we should be doing. You saw this most of all in Haditha, when the Marine Corps was operating in the village of Haditha in western Iraq in 2005 and killed 25 Iraqi civilians, including a baby. And nobody thought much of it. That really made the American commanders stop and say, we are doing something wrong here. My worry is you're not going to see that happen here with ICE. The Trump administration likes the cruelty, likes the blundering about, likes the fact that these guys are operating like thugs in our streets and not respecting the rights of Americans.
We are speaking with Thomas Ricks, a journalist and Pulitzer Prize-winning national security reporter. If you want to join the conversation, you can call or text 713-440-8870. Thomas, there is kind of a stigma about war when it's not happening here. It's kind of out of sight, out of mind. Now that we have ICE agents in like full military gear and they have an aggressive nature and they're going to our American communities, and it now seems very much that the battle is at home. What are the guardrails? You talked about some of the guardrails that failed in Iraq, and now they're failing with ICE. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, I think the guardrails aren't here like they were in Iraq. In Iraq, American commanders stood up and said, wait a second, time out, stop, tell me what's going on here, and reviewing operations and actually ultimately changing the whole way they operated on the streets. Under David Petraeus, late 2006, early 2007, American commanders came in and said, no, protect the people. They are the prize in this conflict. But the Trump administration is treating the citizens and people of many of our large cities as if they were the enemy.
Why do you think that is? Is that because of lack of training of ICE? Did they not? I mean, they obviously are there military commands, chain of commands. How does that work within ICE?
I think it works badly. First of all, these people are not well trained. One thing you can say about the U.S. military is they are extremely well trained. They constantly train and they try to learn from their mistakes. With ICE, you're seeing almost the opposite. These are the shooter in Biddeford, Maine, near where I live, and the shooter in Minnesota were both military veterans who had been in combat. They took home the wrong lessons. That may also be true of the shooter in Houston. As far as I know, we don't know his or her identity. May well be another American veteran who brought home from the Middle East the wrong lessons. The guardrail here should be the American Constitution, should be the courts, and should be, frankly, city police. I would like to see city police deployed to protect the citizens, including from ICE.
In that scenario, though, don't you build then a conflict between, or a battle between ICE officers and police officers on the streets of the city?
Absolutely. Right now, it's a one-way battle. Citizens' rights are being routinely violated. ICE lies about it constantly. I've been looking at some of the backgrounds of people in ICE, their records of domestic abuse, criminal domestic abuse, and other forms of violence. I actually think there's a good chance that by percentage, there are more criminals in ICE than the people that they've been arresting.
Let me ask another question. The tactics that you're talking about and where we've gotten to with the ICE forces out there, is it because of just laziness, misunderstanding, lack of leadership, or do you think it was a concerted effort to build this pseudo-armed force that is in our streets?
I think it's reckless disregard for how you're supposed to police our streets. The fact that these people are not well trained, they really didn't pay attention to the kind of people they were bringing in. The Biddeford shooter from ICE, there was a shooter in Maine, it turned out very quickly had bounced from job to job, had a record of domestic abuse, looks like with not one but two different wives, had dragged his teenage daughter around the house by her hair. This was a guy who had real anger management problems. The last thing you want to do is put him in the streets with a loaded weapon and tell him we really don't care about the rights of the people you're detaining. That's a recipe for disaster. The general thing is the cops in this country over the last 20 years have increasingly been militarized with SWAT-type tactical equipment, body armor, mask, and so on. The nightmare is military equipment and military tactics without military training. And that's what we've been putting on our streets. I think the Trump administration is doing this intentionally. The cruelty is the point. But that doesn't make it legal. And I think a lot of these ICE people, ICE commanders especially, are going to wind up in jail. for things like lying, for withholding evidence, for probably destroying evidence, for telling people if you don't wear a body cam, if you do wear a body cam, turn it off. If you can't turn it off, put tape over it. Stuff like that we're going to be finding out over the next couple of years has been going on routinely. This is a situation in which the frontline people are doing exactly what the commanders want them to do, which is operate with reckless disregard for the Constitution. It's not legal. It's not right. And I think eventually it will be stopped, and people are going to wind up doing time.
Can you take me back to Iraq and what you saw there, an understanding of behavior that you can see manifesting itself here today in regard to the fact of, as violence continues within, as you talked about shootings that happened in Iraq of individuals, and that mentality and the intensity of the situation you're in, how it continues to magnify and grow and what it led to, could you see that same kind of behavior, or do you see that same kind of behavior spreading within the ICE forces on our streets today, that camaraderie around violence, that others against us kind of thing?
Well, when you see people try to film, to take out their cameras and video what ICE is doing, you see on these videos the ICE people swearing at them, yelling at them, telling them to stop when they are perfectly within their rights. It is entirely legal to video law enforcement operations, so as long as you don't interfere with them. In fact, I'm told that one of the best things you can do if you come across an ICE operation is take out your phone. And even if you're not taking video, pretend to be taking video. That really makes them think twice. There is a video I have seen. I haven't confirmed its sources, but there's a video I've seen of ICE is acting very aggressively with a woman who's driving a car. They say, "Why did you try to run us over?" She said, "I didn't try to run you over." They said, "Yes, you did." She said, "I have a dash cam," and it filmed it. Immediately, they back off.
I think it's great advice to arm yourself with, with video to prove what you're saying, because time and time again, it's proven that ICE, it seems like they have unlimited jurisdiction and so little training. Where do you see the outcome of all of this?
Well, it depends on the American people. It depends on the midterm elections. It depends on people supporting the courts as the courts examine the legality of these operations. I am very encouraged by what I see, the people who go out and volunteer to monitor ICE operations. It's scary. These are difficult people to watch. They don't like being watched. They don't like being videoed. I think the people who go out and monitor ICE are real American heroes. They are fighting for our freedoms. But they do it actually with training. And I think training is key here. They're trained, I know, to video what they're doing and to narrate it. So if an ICE guy yells at you, back up, you say, "Okay, I'm backing up. I am not interfering with your operations." You narrate what you're doing. You get a real-time witness that you can produce. That really bothers them when the evidence is there and courts can see it, and it's not just the officer's word against a citizen's word. There actually is video. This is kind of the Rodney King era of law enforcement. Courts aren't going to take an officer's word if there is video evidence to the contrary.
Thomas, thank you so much for sharing with us today and giving us your thoughts and your educated opinion on these topics. Thomas Ricks is a journalist and Pulitzer Prize-winning national security reporter. Thomas, come back anytime. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right. We've made it to the end of the show. In our next segment, it's one of your favorite parts of the week. It is Current Obsessions. We want to know what yours are. Start sending them to us at talk@hellohouston.org. You can also call us, 713-440-8870. I love when they call because I want to grill them about their obsessions. So we'll be sharing ours. We want to hear yours right after this break. With federal support gone, Houston Public Media needs a stronger foundation for the future. The Houston Public Media Resiliency Fund is our response to ensure this service remains strong, stable, and community-powered. Your gift today helps us stay on the air tomorrow and the day after that. Give now to the Resiliency Fund at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 800-364-8300.
Houston Matters wants to hear from you about story or guest ideas for future programs, or pet care or gardening questions you'd like us to tackle when those subjects come up each month on the show. Or maybe you have suggestions for how we can improve the program and provide a better public service. Reach out anytime at talk@houstonmatters.org. I'm Craig Cohen. Join us for the next Houston Matters, weekday mornings at 9 here on News 88.7.
In 1977, the psychobilly band The Cramps recorded a studio album that never saw the light of day. The recording sat in a garage for decades.
It's like the tomb underneath Tutankhamun's tomb, which never got raided because the raiders simply never knew it existed.
I'm Juana Summers. A new Cramps album, Gravest Gravy, on All Things Considered from NPR News.
That starts today at 3 o'clock.
Your favorite PBS and Houston Public Media shows, live, on demand, and all in one place. Search HPM Plus on your smart and connected TVs.
HPM Plus. Support for Houston Public Media comes from listeners like you and from Baylor College of Medicine. With over 125 years of innovation behind it, Baylor has driven progress in health and medicine through research, education, and care that push the frontiers of modern science.
Back to Hello Houston. To comment on any of today's topics, call or text 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now Tessa Barrera and Ernie Manous.
Okay, we made it. That moment you've been waiting for. It's time to dive into our current obsessions. You know what they are. They are a rundown of things currently taking over all your free time. You know, the TV show, you just got to keep streaming, stay up late, don't want to go anywhere else, want to watch it, the song, play over and over again that you annoy everyone in your workplace with. I can speak from my own experience. Audiobook makes you drive that extra mile. I don't think I need to give any more examples of it. Right now, though, we want to know, what are yours? We're going to share ours. It's easy to share them with us. Just give us a call, 713-440-8870, or post it in the chat group on YouTube, or email them to us at talk@hellohouston.org. Okay, what's trending right now on X for a lot of people's obsession? National Radio Day is today.
Happy National Radio Day to you, sir.
Day to you, too.
And to all of our awesome coworkers, all of our, what are we, radioids, radioheads?
Radioids?
I don't know.
Radioheads?
Radio people.
That's one thing. We know you love radio, and that's why you're here with us. Also, remember, you can donate right now, and it's getting doubled. Just go over to houstonpublicmedia.org. Click the resiliency tracker. Make your donation. Make your gift. If you love radio as much as we do, it'll be doubled. So do that right now.
No better way to celebrate National Radio Day than that.
Okay. You've been hinting for a while that you've got some good current obsessions. So, Tessa, welcome to your first official in the host chair current obsession.
Finally.
Take us in. What are you obsessed with?
Okay, well, first I have a question. Do you like Survivor?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, do you like Naked and Afraid? Do you like survival shows?
No.
Okay, but you love Survivor, like OG, old day Survivor.
Yes, and the reason, and I will clarify that, because they used to know how to brilliantly cast that show.
Okay.
And whoever the casting directors were extremely smart in it.
Okay.
Now I think it's a little less so.
Okay.
Same thing on Project Runway. They knew who to cast on Project Runway in the earlier years. Now it's a little different. They're looking for like social media celebrities.
Right.
Influencers. So it's different. But yeah.
Okay.
I love that part.
Okay. Well, if you liked old school Survivor, you will love Outlast the Jungle on Netflix. This is one of the best survival shows I have seen in a long time. Now, listen, I rarely go full binge. I'm actually super strict, and I have a regimen. Like, I got to be in bed by a certain time. I can put it away and I can come back to it. I'm not one of those, got to see the next one. That was not the case with Outlast the Jungle, streaming now on Netflix. I think it's, this is not the first, so there's others. So I'm like, ooh, there's more of this show somewhere. This is the latest season. It's streaming now, and it is so good.
Okay, is it well cast? Are they good competitors?
Oh my gosh,
That's the important. That's the heart.
It's well
of any
cast.
reality.
There's a villain. There are people to choose from. You'll immediately like your favorites, and there's a lot of strategy too. There are drops. They're like helicopter drops at each camp. You will like it if you like survival shows. I am hooked on this one.
One
you
more
guys.
question before I can jump on your bandwagon.
Please.
It's Outlast in the Jungle.
Right.
Are there a lot of snakes?
There are snakes. There's a lot of wildlife. No, there's a lot of
I
wildlife.
don't care about wildlife.
No, it's more imagery. It's not. There's not a lot of. Okay, we're dealing with snakes. I think the snake makes an appearance, and there's one. Here's a little bitty baby spoiler. There's a guy who is a reptile fan. He works with reptiles. He refuses to eat the snakes. He won't eat the snakes.
Eat them. Oh my God. I don't want to hear any more about snakes.
Okay.
You know what I want to hear?
You're going to love it.
I want to hear from Dave from Fulshire, who's on the line. He called us 713-440-8870. Dave, what's your current obsession?
The federal debt.
Oh, my God.
Nobody seems to be concerned about it. Although I do have to say, I actually heard it on NPR yesterday. They mentioned that it had gone over $40 trillion.
I know.
Our interest payments every year are over $1 trillion, and we keep screaming for the government to spend more money. But nobody in Congress understands if you continue to spend more than you have, you will go bankrupt.
Dave, I'm with you on that. I will also tell you that it was in our list of topics for today to talk about that. I will jump on this with you, but to a different point of it, I love watching the tracker that tells you how much it's going up.
Oh, my
and
gosh.
how quickly $1 million keeps flipping. And I'm like, oh, my Lord, this is real money, people. It's like in 10 seconds, it goes up $1 million. It's crazy.
I saw something like for every dollar that you're taxed on, like 42% of it is just going to interest of
Not
our
even
debt.
paying off the debt,
Right,
just
right.
the interest on it. It's
Right.
crazy. Yes, Dave, I think more people should be obsessed with that. Tessa, other obsessions you've got?
Okay, I know you're a foodie like me, and there was a Terry Black's barbecue that opened up in Houston.
I saw your pictures.
Okay, did you see the pits and the sausage and the sides and everything? Okay, Terry Black's on Shepherd, plenty of parking, cold Shiner Bock, and a plate of Terry Black's barbecue. Obsessed. I do think everyone should try it. There are many delicious local barbecue places in Houston. This is the newest one. Go find out what they're about, and yeah, give me feedback because you know, I love hearing all the barbecue connoisseurs and their opinions form. What about you?
Okay, I've got a cooking. You talked food. This is my food obsession of the week. I am looking online for easy traditional Greek cooking hacks. So it's like, I know all the yayas, all the nanas out there. You would cook your Greek food and you would be in that kitchen from before the family wakes up in the morning till into the evening to get dinner on the table to bring you this plate of Greek cuisine. In today's day and age with pressure cookers and air fryers and all, I want to find the hacks. I want to make the food taste traditional, but I want to spend 30 minutes making a pastizo or domadas. I don't have all day.
Okay. Well, go to the Greek festival.
Oh, I do.
It's
year.
okay. Okay, me too.
Oh, we'll go
See
together.
you there. Yeah.
I love the Greek Fest.
Totally.
It's a little hard, all the crowds and stuff, but last year or two, it's been a little lighter crowds, which is probably bad for them, but good for me. So I can get in there. Okay. Television obsession. You're obsessed with your Survivor show.
It's called Outlast, not Survivor.
I said a Survivor show.
Right.
All right, I'm currently obsessed with, and I hate to admit it, because I wasn't going to. I promised myself I absolutely was not going to watch The Shards.
The Shards?
The Shards.
What is that?
What's his name? Brett Ellis, the guy who wrote Less Than Zero.
It's a series?
American Psycho. He wrote this book. It's theoretically semi-autobiographical about his high school days, but it takes place in the beginning of the 80s, 80, 81.
Oh, a nostalgic piece.
Yes, and there's a murder mystery, and it's Ryan Murphy from all the American Horror Stories and all that, so of course it's graphically that. And it's glossy and it's 80s and it recreates an era and the soundtrack is fun. And it's fiction, as they say in the beginning, but they're trying to hint it isn't. So whatever, I kind of got hooked.
So the vibe says, think social circles, elite LA backdrop, and 1980s pop culture atmosphere.
Yes. Elite, when you say elite, I used to be obsessed with the Spanish series Elite about all of these high schoolers that were in their 30s going to this high school that turned out to somehow be a brothel by the end. I don't know. I can't explain it. I liked that show too. I like the glossiness of those programs. Do I have anything else? Yes, I'm obsessed with Holly Woodlawn. Holly Woodlawn was an Andy Warhol superstar. She had written an autobiography years back called My Low Life in High Heels.
Okay.
One of the funniest books I ever read, at least back then. I haven't reread it yet. But I found out her ghostwriter wrote a book about his experience with Holly, which I assume is going to be just as good as that because I assume he actually wrote Holly's book. So I just bought it. It just came in the mail. I'm going to read that next. There you go. Those are my obsessions.
Okay, well, listen, that was a great start. And Noah Espinosa says he's obsessed with radio. So happy National Radio
Noah,
Day.
I'm obsessed with you being obsessed with radio. There you go. Thank you all for joining us today. Please keep sending in your obsessions. We will get to them next time. Send them in all week long. And I wanted to let you know, Al Green going to be on the show tomorrow.
Exciting times. Yeah. Exciting times.
See you back here tomorrow.
Thanks for listening to Hello Houston. Join us every Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. to talk all things Houston. The Hello Houston production team includes Garrett Bowman, William Menivar, Laura Walker, Jen Altide, Todd Holslander, Jayla Rhodes, Mark DeClaudio, Tom Carter, and Jim Kovacic. For the latest in local news, subscribe to the Hello Houston daily newsletter at HoustonPublicMedia.org. Hello Houston is a production of Houston Public Media. The opinions expressed by the guests of this program are solely their own and do not represent the views of management, staff, or underwriters of Houston Public Media. This is News 88.7.
Support comes from Houston Theater Week, a citywide celebration of live performances. Participating organizations include theater, dance, and music presenters.